Stupid facts about Halloween, let's go! It's a common misconception that Myers' mask is made out of a William Shatner mask. It's actually made out of marshmallow fluff and dead hornets. Laurie Strode stabs Myers with a coat hanger in the eye. A little known fact is that if it had been a chainsaw, she would have really fucked his shit up. Michael Myers eats a dog in this movie, but he much prefers hamburgers. Preferably with ketchup, probably because it looks like blood. It's believed that if Michael Myers was a shark, his killing rate would drop 98%. This is because sharks can't hold knives. In this scene, Linda thinks her boyfriend is under the sheet, but he's not. It's actually Michael Myers. If you stick around for 42 more seconds of the movie, you'll see proof of this. In a post-mortem interview, Judith Myers said that if she had to do it all over again, she would lock her bedroom door. Michael Myers attacking teenagers is fairly common. However, teenagers attacking Michael Myers is much more rare. While Myers' motives for killing are unknown, new research has found his killings may have been inspired by the low quality of adult films in the 1970s. Yeah, that's probably accurate. Actor Charles Cyphers shit his pants during this scene and maintained composure. That's dedication to your craft, especially with a Mongo Duke in your trousers.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Nurse Marion Chambers has stated that she did have trouble sleeping at night after being attacked by Michael Myers. She believes her sleeplessness may have something to do with the attack, but she can't be sure. I'm so disappointed right now. You haven't hit that subscribe button, you haven't hit that like button, I'm looking at you. Hit that shit right now, and then I'm going to give you some bonus facts, baby. You can use these bonus facts to impress people at parties. You're going to get laid after I give you these. You're going to get business, you're going to get fucking employed after this shit. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, do it all right now. Give me your social security number. It's okay, baby. Make it happen. I'm going to get into these bonus facts, but I'll wait on you to hit that button. Go ahead. Okay, let's go. In an interview, Jamie Lee Curtis told TMZ that director John Carpenter smelled like cigarettes and malcontent while on set. Donald Pleasance played the role of Dr. Samuel Loomis more than any other actor in the history of the world. After Myers' attacks on Haddonfield residents, it's been reported that 92% of people just started locking their doors at night. The other 8% hope to post their encounter with Michael on TikTok. Speaking of which, do you follow us on TikTok? Well, you better. Hey, what's up, horror fam? Get your beach towel and sunscreen, because we're about to have some fun in the sun. That's right, my friends, Talk Horror is going to hit the beach, because in this video, we're going to take a look at 10 things Michael Myers and killer sharks have in common. But before we get started, please make sure you're part of the horror fam by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. I touched on this subject at the end of my 10 Things You Didn't Know About Halloween Resurrection video, in which Freddy, played by Busta Rhymes,
let's see what you got,
drops a sage observation about serial killer Michael Myers as he's taken away in a body bag.
Mr. Harris, would you like to make a statement?
What can you tell us about Michael Myers?
Michael Myers is not a soundbite, a spin-off, tie-in, some kind of celebrity scandal. Michael Myers is a killer shark.
Most viewers didn't give this line much thought, but now it's time to take this topic into deep waters and really sink our teeth into it. Number 1, they both eat too much protein. We all know sharks are pretty damn narcissistic when it comes to improving their physique, always eating as much protein as they can. But this dude from Halloween Resurrection seems to think Myers has a major protein problem himself.
Never underestimate the effect of a poor diet. Too much protein, not enough zinc. Next thing you know, you're cutting up bodies in your bathtub.
I always thought this dude may have been full of shit, but this must have really resurrected something in Rob Zombie's mind, because just look at this. God damn! To be fair, I think there's more than protein at work here. Myers is the damn Lance Armstrong of the slashers, apparently. Performance-enhancing drugs. Number 2, they both tried to kill LL Cool J. poor LL Cool J just can't catch a damn break. First, Michael Myers tried to kill him in Halloween H2O, and not even a year later he had killer sharks trying to turn him into a man-witch. And to my knowledge, he never lived out his dream of becoming an author.
Johnny, it's unrealistic. This whole writing career is unrealistic.
Number 3, neither actually wear overalls. In Halloween Resurrection, you may remember this legendary bit of dialogue given to us courtesy of Busta Rhymes.
Michael Myers is a killer shark. Baggy-ass overalls. He gets his kicks off of killing everything and everyone that he comes across. That's all.
Despite Busta clearly being the scholar that he is, neither Myers nor killer sharks actually wear overalls. In all fairness, there may actually be an explanation for this. Busta has a long-standing love affair with overalls. Number 4, they have black eyes. Remember the blackest eyes speech delivered by Dr. Loomis in the original Halloween?
The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Well, Quint says something very similar in Jaws.
You know the thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes. Black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Oh, did he just call sharks baby dolls? Number 5, they eat dogs. It's rare when we get a look at Myers' need to feed, but we got a peek in the original Halloween when he scarfs down Lassie.
It's still warm. He got hungry.
Most people wouldn't think of the canine being part of a shark's diet, too, but that's how this poor guy lost his puppy. Everyone forgets about poor Pippet the dog being eaten, mostly because of Alex Kittner getting annihilated right after. Alex Kittner, what an attention whore.
Bruh.
Number 6, both try to kill children. Well, we saw what happened to Alex Kittner, but Myers has also tried to take out some kiddies along the way. He's just terrible at it. Why can't Myers be that cool uncle like Gary Busey in Silver Bullet, who just shows up, gets drunk, builds you a hot rod of a wheelchair, gets drunk, laughs obnoxiously, gives you fireworks to blow your hand off, gets drunk, and goes home? You're really missing out on those golden years, Mikey.
Hey, Jesus Palomina.
Number 7, they have imposters.
I'm only a dolphin, ma'am.
A dolphin? Well, okay.
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, L. Ron Hubbard. Myers and sharks have had their share of imitators. Let's not forget these little paint gobblers in Jaws who incited a panic and nearly got themselves shot in the process.
He made me do it. He told me to do it.
And no matter how Gary Busey drunk you get, you'll never wipe away the memory of Busta Rhymes dressing up as Michael Myers.
God damn. What the hell somebody gotta do to get a little decent help up in this motherfucker?
Number 8, the 5-0 hate them. If you thought the cops had it out for Randy Quaid, he ain't got nothing on Mikey and Killer Sharks. Mike's pissed off about every cop in every movie he's been in, typically by killing their daughter.
3 kids. One of them was Annie.
And let's not forget when the shark in Jaws got on Chief Brody's bad side. He was already pissed about it eating people, but by God, when it broke that dock, you're asking Brody to put up with murder and vandalism? That's just one step too damn far, buddy. Number 9, both try to kill their siblings. Mikey's always had a problem getting along with his siblings. And sharks definitely have the same problem.
Before they are born, the sand tiger's shark pups compete with their siblings. In fact, the strongest pup in each of the 2 wombs devours its weaker brothers and sisters.
Fuck the ocean. Number 10, you can kill them with oxygen tanks. Oxygen tanks! It's their only weakness! Let's not forget that Myers got his ass handed to him by an oxygen tank.
It's time, Michael.
the shark from Jaws was dumb enough to use an oxygen tank as a chew toy, so its fate was pretty similar.
Fire, you son of a...
And that's it for this video. Who is it?
Telegram, sir.
Telegram? Is this that killer shark? Hey, what's going on out there, horror fam? How we doing tonight, baby? Who have we got in here? I see Billy Judd. I see Samuel Stokes. J.K., my boy. Brian Perry, what's up? And the old Dragon Blues is in here. What's going on, DB? Pokemon. Hey, Pokemon. What's going on? Let's bring old Dragon Blues in here. Maybe she can answer for herself. What is up? Hey,
Hi.
Dragon Blues, what's going on?
Hey.
Oh, my God.
What's happening?
What's going on, Trav Zimmermans? I see you in here raising hell as always.
Hi, Trav.
Trav, what's going on, man? Come on, man.
What's up?
Yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about the Poltergeist curse. And how we're going to lay this out is we are going to give all the juicy deets. We're going to spill that tea. We're going to do a deep dive.
Beans.
Yes. And then we're going to break it down. We're going to go into the discussion of each point of the curse. And we're going to figure out if the Poltergeist film really is cursed. And if you stick around, we'll get into some Saw X discussion because I've seen that. I've continued my tradition of seeing every Saw film in theaters.
Cool.
But this time there was some drama.
A little bit of
drama this time.
Dash of drama.
Dash of drama. So
JP just popped in. Hi, JP. Sharon just popped in. Hi, Sharon.
What's going on? Yeah.
So and you'll have to tell everybody about your JP adventures too.
Nah, we won't get into that.
Why?
We won't get into that. Come on. Nobody else. Come on. I'm sick around here. Come on. Yeah, so. Chad Edmonds is in here. What's going on, Chad?
Hey, Chad?
Oh my goodness. The horror fam is strong in this one, and I'm seeing a lot of support coming in from the channel members, like old Studley Chad coming in. Seeing a lot of channel member icons out there tonight. That's badass.
Yes.
We're growing stronger.
Horror fam strong.
Okay. So here we go. We're going to get into the Poltergeist curse, and I want to know what everybody thinks about each point as well. Like I said, we're going to break this down, okay? So released in 1982, the original Poltergeist, directed by Tobe Hooper, who, of course, we all know directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was released in 1982. I've linked to the film in the description below if anybody needs to pick up that sweet-looking steelbook there. Look at Jo Beth Williams crawling out of that swimming pool, trying to save her own hide there. You do need that steelbook.
Yeah, I love it.
So when it was released, it was considered an instant success and a masterpiece of American horror cinema. The film focuses on the Freelings, a middle-class family whose life is upturned when a number of paranormal and vicious events occur in their California home, and their daughter, Carol Ann, is abducted through her bedroom closet by a group of ghosts who are under the control of a monster demon called the Beast.
The Beast.
The Beast. Oh my God. So that's the basic rundown of the story.
Yeah.
Really. But it's interesting what happened after the movie was released. That's when people began to claim that, man, the production was totally cursed. And we'll start with little Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann Freeling, the young focal point of the series. Now, here's Carol Ann, as we all know.
Yeah.
She was only 6 years old when the first Poltergeist film was released. O'Rourke captivated audiences with her stark blonde hair, doll-like appearance, and big, inquisitive eyes. Look at that. What a cute, cute baby right there.
I know, little sweet baby.
Yes. Sadly, however, she was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease in 1987. And I just want to show people, if you look at Carol Ann in the first one and then look at her by the third film, look at the difference in her face.
Yeah, they had her on steroids. She has steroid face. Poor thing.
Totally. She looks like, she has like that chipmunk syndrome you get from the roids.
Yeah.
So the following year, O'Rourke fell ill again, and her symptoms were casually attributed to the flu. A day later, she collapsed and suffered a cardiac arrest. After being airlifted to a children's hospital in San Diego, O'Rourke died during an operation to correct a bowel obstruction, and it was later believed that she had been suffering from a congenital intestinal abnormality. So there you go. That's definitely the most famous death from the franchise.
Yeah, absolutely.
The most talked about. But she's not the only daughter from the film to have a premature death.
No, as a matter of fact, she wasn't the first.
She wasn't. She was not. Yeah. Dominic Dunn, Carol Ann's sister in the film,
Dana,
who played Dana Freeling, met an equally tragic and unforeseen fate. In 1982, Dunn separated from her partner, John Sweeney. In November of that year, he showed up at Dunn's house, pleading for her to take him back. When she refused, Sweeney grabbed Dunn's neck, choked her until she was unconscious, and left her to die in her Hollywood home's driveway. Sweeney was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison, but was released after 3 years and 7 months.
Gross.
That's and horrible. And this is crazy, but like I pulled up, some of these articles just to kind of like brush myself up on some of the stuff that went wrong, and I went to Slash Film.
So did I.
I went to Slash Film. I just got to read this to you because this just struck me as like, just exquisite journalism right here. Let's see if I can find. Yeah, it's just exquisite right here. Yeah. Dominic Dunn was brutally murdered by her ex-boyfriend. Now, this is on Slash Film. Angry about their breakup, he went to her house one night to talk about the situation and ended up strangling her. She was 22 years old, and her death should never have happened.
I mean,
it's like, tell us how you really feel, Slash Film. It's like,
it's completely true. Like, it's just somebody who, it may not be the best writing, but it's absolutely true, right? It's just,
like her death never should have happened.
That is true.
That's true, but it's like, that's like,
you can say that about all murders, right? Like,
that's a hot take right there, Slash Film. It's like,
let me just put this out there. That shouldn't have happened. Yeah, that's the thing with murder, right? That's why people go to jail. But the thing that stood out most to me, when I read about Dominic's death, was something that comes up a lot when you and I watch documentaries on serial killers, and how often they are caught early in their murderous career, doing horrible things to women.
Yeah.
And only if they serve any time at all, it's very, very short.
Very short.
Even though what they did was horrifically violent. And it's like, I thought the same thing when I read that. I was like, he served 3 years for murdering his girlfriend.
Murder. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, what's wrong? What's wrong with that system? It's just.
Yeah.
And I don't want to derail our discussion on that, but it would really stood out to me. If anything is cursed,
yeah. And that's but that's not the only murder of a cast member.
No, it's not.
That we're going to talk about. And here's another one. This was crazy. Yeah. So this one involves Lou Perryman, who most of us probably remember mainly from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Absolutely.
He played LG, and he was hilarious. He's epic. Apparently was a lovely guy in real life. I love his character in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So, Tobe Hooper even brought him back because he was originally in Poltergeist, and he's credited in the credits as playing a character named Bluto, or Pugsley, excuse me.
Pugsley.
But they call him Bluto in the movie.
Yeah.
Jo Beth Williams calls him Bluto.
Yeah.
Because he compliments her on her coffee after he's caught sneaking his hand through the kitchen window and stealing some of their food.
Yeah.
While his crew's out working in the backyard. But so.
Yeah, it's such a strange, funny scene.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Right? But he reaches in and takes her cup of coffee and starts drinking out of it. And
then takes a sip of her stew or whatever.
Yeah, she's cooking something that looks like maybe a tomato sauce for that night or whatever. Yeah. And he reaches in and takes the it's a great scene.
The ladle, or whatever.
Yeah.
But Lou Perryman. This is Lou Perryman, who starred in the minor role of Pugsley in the original film, was murdered with an axe in his home by a young man recently released from prison. The killer had no previous connection to Perryman, and he claimed to be intoxicated and no longer taking his prescription medications at the time, which caused him to go into a murderous rage.
Yeah. He was, it's strange. It's just strange considering, somebody was in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and then they were killed by an axe murderer. I feel like that's a better connection than the Poltergeist. You know what I mean? I get it. People really want the Poltergeist curse to be a thing. So that's the connection that got made. Yeah. He was in Poltergeist 30 years before he was murdered. And that's right. That's key too. It was 30 years before he was murdered. But to me, there's more of a irony. I hate to say that, but it's, if I was telling a story, right, it would absolutely be dramatic irony. It's the irony is he was in a slasher film and then was murdered by an axe murderer.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Right. The irony is there. Right. It's
that's not connection. And I imagine the horrible thing about that is how scary that must have been. Number one, a home invasion has to be horrible.
Yeah.
But imagine being as old as he is and living this long, full life, and that's how you go out. Oh my God, I would be so pissed.
All I can do is hope he was asleep. Because I know it was a home invasion in the middle of the night. That's all you can do is I hope he was asleep and that he wasn't even aware of what happened. Because it's horrific. Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching a video on Frank Mir, who was a UFC fighter, and because there's been an odd number of those who have been victims of home invasions or robberies or anything like that, and they've had to fight off these raging crackheads, and it's he's just talking about, and he's people will bring up the question oh, so if somebody breaks in your house and you shoot them or you kill them or you hurt them, then you're saying that your stuff is worth more than their life. He's you don't understand. He's number one, I'm the man of the house. He's this is where
your baby sleeping in the next room.
This is where my wife and children sleep. This is where they go to bed at night under the assumption that they can safely rest until the next day.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, you come into that territory and disrupt it, it's fair game.
Yeah, I feel like somebody who asks that kind of question, obviously doesn't feel that sense of responsibility, but more than that, doesn't completely lacks imagination or real human feeling, because all you have to do is think to yourself, what would it feel like if somebody came into my home in the middle of the night?
Mm-hmm.
And you are lying if you say to yourself, well, I'd be really concerned with human rights. Like, you wouldn't.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
It would be terrifying. It would be, I mean,
yes.
Because I've thought about it before. I've imagined that. Like, I have a really active imagination and I'm a scaredy pants. And I like, when I think of that and picture that and imagine that, like, it's horrific. Like, I don't think about like, get this person out of my house. Please be sure not to hurt them while you do. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
No,
dude.
I just think about how terrifying that would be.
Yeah.
And how vulnerable I would be.
Yeah.
And you hear these stories about people who survive those types of attacks and the wherewithal that comes to them, right? Like they were able to grab a lamp or grab it, and hit, and you just, all you can do is hope, right? Like I hope that if something like that ever happens to me, some kind of survival instinct would kick in. But the sad thing is you have no idea what your survival instinct is until something like that happens. Because it's like, you can hope. I really hope I'm the type of person who would like fight hard for my life, for your life, or, but but you don't know it. You don't know. I might end up actually being the type of person who cowers and dies. Right? Like that's,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Landy Smith, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Landy.
$5, man. Really appreciate that. Yes, rest in peace, Dominic and Heather. Absolutely. And yeah, Sharon is that's the scary part of that situation because you are so vulnerable. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You're asleep.
And that's, and it's like, and I think the same people who say something like that, it's like, how would their feelings be, if a human disturbed a bear's den? Where bears have their little cut, like, oh, so the bear values their life more than human life? What's going on? It's like, well, then they would argue, well, then you shouldn't have messed with the bear. It's like, well, same thing, man. Like, you shouldn't have messed with, someone else's well-being, potentially. So just crazy, it's just, crazy. And then we have, let's see here. Next,
there are a couple other interesting.
Well, so here we go. And here's where things get, because there's more deaths and people talk about it. Oh, there's the Landy Smith taking the stream. Stream boss. And also getting his sweet little animation there of the dancing Michael Myers. Congratulations, Landy, and thank you for your support, brother. Really appreciate that. So here's where things get a little bit, they go a little bit off the rails for me. Because now we're going to talk about a couple other cast members who had untimely demises. And one is from Poltergeist 2. Here's Julian Breck. Now, the evil preacher, he played the evil preacher Kane from Poltergeist 2.
So great. Such a great performance.
So great. Oh
my God.
So creepy.
Yeah.
In 1983, Beck had been diagnosed with stomach cancer, which took his life soon after he finished work on the second installment of the series.
Yeah. See, and I think this is key. He was diagnosed with stomach cancer before he took the role.
Yeah, he was.
And yeah.
And then we have Will Sampson from the same film, who played like the Indian shaman.
Also so great. Love Will Sampson.
Very great. He played Taylor, the Native American shaman, and he died after undergoing a heart-lung transplant, which had a very slim survival rate.
Yeah. Also ill before he took the role. So it's kind of, So JP threw in doesn't count. I don't think either of them do.
They didn't, but people argue that they died as part of the Poltergeist because they died soon after the film. And also, Will Sampson, another thing that people argue is that on the set of Poltergeist 2, because they had some strange happenings occur on that set, they had Will Sampson do a blessing on the set. And some people argue that pissed off the demons, which led to his untimely departure.
Right. Right. And did you read about I can't remember the actor's name. He played Ryan in the first film, who is one of the paranormal investigators. The one who goes after the stake and his face falls apart.
Uh-huh.
He was in a plane crash shortly after filming.
Mm-hmm.
And 27 of the 51 people on board died. And he survived.
Damn.
So people have added that to the list of the Poltergeist curse as well.
Curse my ass! He
lived, right?
He lived, man. If anything,
but
yeah,
it is a near-death experience. It had to be terrifying,
yeah.
But it did come up in my research, so.
Unless we find out like the demons saved him and are kind of using him as like a conduit, and we find out like he was a serial killer or something,
Yeah.
And then a lot of people say, so like, this is a bit ironic because the first Poltergeist film, the whole story, and why like the house is haunted or whatever, is that they developed the house on top of old burial grounds where they relocated the headstones from a cemetery. Like they took those out, relocated, but they left the bodies.
They didn't move the bodies. Yeah.
So they left the bodies in the ground and built these houses on top of them. And a little bit of irony here is that during the scene when Jo Beth Williams is running around the backyard and she falls into the pool that's being developed, if you remember right, like those bodies come up and sort of harass her.
Oh yeah, it's great.
There's those skeletons, and look at those. Those are kick-ass skeletons,
by
the way. And the reason why they're so kick-ass is because these skeletons aren't fake; they're real skeletons.
Yeah. Well, all the like tissue, connective tissue, all of that is fake.
All that's fake. But they got the real skeletons. Production was able
to
purchase those skeletons from like that were being used for like scientific purposes or whatever, and that was like common practice back then, because producing fake skeletons was actually more expensive than purchasing real ones.
It was actually something that was technically still new, right? They hadn't been producing plastic skeletons for long, and so they were very expensive. They were hard to come by. And they were one size fits all. It was, you got an exact replica over and over and over again, which doesn't work for a film production. So, if they wanted a wide array of varied skeletons and they wanted many of them, the only way to do that was to buy real human skeletons. And it was very common practice that went all the way back to the beginning of horror film. In Hollywood, every skeleton you see in all the classic horror films from all the way back to Frankenstein was a real skeleton. So it's not, So they talk about like this, they like to talk about it in conjunction with the Poltergeist curse as this like abominable thing that happened, and that's why the film is cursed. It's like it was happening on every horror film set. Or really anything, a sci-fi film that had where you're using a skeleton in the classroom or a skeleton in whatever situation. They were real. Those are real skeletons. Yeah.
Totally real, man. But like, that was common. That was nothing out of the ordinary. So I mean,
no, not at all. Yeah. So I mean, as disturbing as that is to a modern audience who, is used to the plastic and I mean, now we all go to Lowe's every Halloween and we buy plastic skeletons for, $30 or $50, whatever they are now. And it's,
or sometimes like $200 if you want the 30-foot Jumbotron skeleton with the LED eyes.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah, they are. They are. But
sorry.
Yeah, man. Nothing.
Yeah, so that's what started. So you're right. Like it has played perfectly into the idea of why the film is cursed. And works so much better with Poltergeist than it would with any other film because of the fact that that's the premise of why the house is haunted to begin with. It's because, real human remains are underneath the house that the family lives in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see on the side that JK and Brian are both talking about the fact that something that we left out that's part of the curse. Part of the curse is the clown malfunctioned during production, and the little boy did get choked, and apparently was saved by Spielberg himself, who saw what was happening and jumped in and saved him from being.
So Oliver Robbins, the actor who played little, I believe his name was Robbie.
Yeah.
He said that like they had to shoot the choking, the scene where the clown wraps his arm around his neck and tries to pull him like under the bed or whatever. He said that they had to shoot that in reverse, and the clown's arm like stretched out and did wrap around his neck and kind of like malfunctioned, and they couldn't, and Spielberg had to run over and kind of like be a clown wrangler.
Yeah, had to untangle him from the clown.
Yeah, which is definitely spooky.
Yeah, but
and and I know that there's other things too, like, number one, with the skeletons, Jo Beth was upset, Jo Beth Williams, because obviously she was the one in the she was the one in the pool with the real life skeletons, and nobody told her.
Yeah,
that they were
nobody
real.
told her that they were real. Yeah,
she thought they were props. They were like, yeah, these props, and it's like, but to be fair, that could be what they just called them back then. It was so common. It's like, well, these prop skeletons,
well,
man.
At that point, they had been turned into props. So, because if you look at them in the film, like their design is incredible. There's all kinds of, not only are they all dressed at this point, but they have all kinds of like tissue. Some of them are more or less like decayed. You know what I mean? So some of them have tufts of hair, and some of them are even still in their jewelry and stuff, which just looks so cool. And but yeah, they all have different levels of like different amounts of like connective tissue holding them together, and all kinds of stuff like that. And so at that point, they had been like turned fully into like film props, So
yeah. And and then I know there's other things like Zelda Rubinstein, I believe, said that on the set of Poltergeist 3 that a picture was taken of her with flash photography, and that she saw like light blurs or like orbing kind of effects that like you usually do after being hit in the face with a flash. But she said it lasted for like 3 weeks or something like that.
Ooh.
After that film, and she attributed that to being like a picture being taken of her at the exact moment her mother passed away.
Aww.
Yeah, so I know. So yeah, there's some stuff with the actors as well, and I know the writer of the book. I believe it was the writer of the book. His house was struck by lightning. It hit his air conditioner, and while he was working on the book or whatever, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, stuff like that happened all the time, especially back then before houses were like grounded properly, and
yeah.
I mean, my grandpa tells me stories about one time when lightning struck their television set.
Wow.
Yeah. So, or lightning struck and messed up their TV set or something.
Yeah. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Crazy. So the real question is then, Stephen.
Yes.
Do you think Poltergeist was cursed?
Well, I set up a poll in the chat. Let's go ahead and end the poll and get the final results and see what everybody voted for. So the poll results are 86% people say yes, it was cursed. I say I'm going against the grain
Mm-hmm.
and saying no, it wasn't cursed. It was just shit happens, man. It's like, it's there's nothing really out of just overly crazy for me, man. It's like everybody died of medical conditions except for like one person.
Yeah.
Lou Perryman doesn't count because that happened like 30 years later.
Right.
JK brings up Zelda Rubinstein called the curse crap. And nobody and Zelda's the authority figure on the matter too. I mean, she comes in, she's the psychic, she's the paranormal investigator. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
man.
I would love to take the opposite tact and play devil's advocate, but then I'd have to lie. But
I want people, because I know everybody voted. Well, almost everybody voted for yes. I want to know why people voted for yes.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is like it's not even that it's not fun to believe in that kind of stuff. It totally is. I mean, that added mystique, to a film that is talking about that kind of thing. It just plays so perfectly into it. It's like, this is what the movie's about. This home, this neighborhood is like, in a sense, that's what it is cursed, by the decision that these land developers made. And so it's like, I get it. I get wanting to believe it. Like, it adds so much, a little extra spice to one of your favorite horror films and stuff. But I think it'd be like interesting to look back on the history of Hollywood and say, how many movies out of all the movies that have been made, a million movies that have been made, how many have like a string of deaths attached to them, or a string, and it's, but there are probably some that are happy movies that had nothing. And it's just, sometimes you get into a circle of people who have worked together and, one thing after another kind of happens, so.
But it's like, okay, well, let me ask you this, because I see people are saying, JK says, I feel like there are just too many coincidences. Patty says, too many untimely deaths, especially for children. John says, too many deaths and strange ones. Trav says, tragic deaths and kid brother getting choked by a clown.
Well, the interesting thing is, it's like there's just a lot going on, right? Because it's like, as far as the clown goes,
there's a lot going on.
As far as the clown goes, like, you hear about like FX problems happening all the time in all kinds of movies. So if you look at genres that are more FX heavy, horror films, sci-fi films, fantasy films, which are kind of like, you collectively, all three are our favorite kinds of films, like, then you hear stuff like that all the time, right? Like, they have problems with FX things malfunctioning and going wrong and hurting the actors like all the time. So that one's hard for me. It's like, God, that stuff, like, I would love to say it doesn't happen, but apparently it happens all the time. And to be fair, like, there is only one child died, right? I mean, as Dana plays a child, and so it's easy to say, like, multiple deaths of children. But to me, it's more of an issue of like, when you look at Dominique's death, I see it less about her attachment to Poltergeist, and more about how common domestic violence is.
Well, especially in California. Like, California had a damn surplus of serial killers. Well, of all that, but like, California had a surplus of just serial killers and killers and all that. Like,
well, they have a, I mean, because of how many,
they still do, but
because of how many millions of people live within a small area. Just statistically, I think, probably the percentages are the same. if you just look at it percentage wise, but because
Probably,
millions of
but if
people
you
live
look
in
at
a
like
small
your
pocket.
I mean, if you
Sure.
watch some of these documentaries we've been watching lately on serial killers and stuff like that, it's like you didn't want to live in California in the 70s and 80s, man.
Right? Like we
You had
talked about, I remember
Zodiac running
saying that to
around.
you. I
Yeah,
think
you had
like I
Zodiac
said that
running
to you. It's
around.
like, oh,
The Golden State Killer was running around. Richard Ramirez.
it was so dangerous to live in California in the 70s. Like it's insane.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
totally. It was wild. But you know what I mean? Like, so like that's what I thought when I read that. I was like, a 22-year-old woman was murdered by her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, that's, I think my only problem with trying to connect that to like a cursed film or anything like that is it trivializes the real issue, within the real issue is domestic violence, right? Like it's how many women are killed.
So your argument is that it takes accountability away.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's it's like the issue is not that she was in a particular film. The issue is that how often this happens to women, right? Like that's so there's kind of an odd, like that it was just a struggle for me to read that that's how she died, and then try to like tie that to like her choice in film. You know what I mean? It's like, let's keep the topic like real. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
let me ask you. Okay, so
sure.
Let me ask you and the horror fam this. I want everybody to answer this because here is a question I have for all of you.
Mm-hmm.
So Carol Ann, it's very arguable. She died by fucking medical malpractice.
Right, and so if Dominic had also died of a strange illness, I would have been like, that's so weird. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and they they misdiagnosed her, and then they're like, well, this is blah blah blah, and then they come in, they're like, oh shit, she has a bowel obstruction, which is something that they're not. Of course, they're not going to look at, man. That's an internal thing that's like, at the bottom of the list. So let me ask you this. This is the question I want to ask you, and I want to ask the horror fam.
Okay.
Had she visited a decent ass doctor who was like, look, here's what's wrong with you. It's totally fixable. We're going to work. And they cured her. Had she survived the bowel obstruction, do you think then she would have died from some other mysterious cause of death? Do you think the curse would have haunted her?
No, because I don't believe in the curse. But like I think like that, but I think she's the hinge.
Like, do you think she was meant to die?
No.
Because that's what, I mean, if you believe in the curse, then that's what you're saying. Like, this person was absolutely meant to die the minute she accepted that role.
Right. Right. And so, what?
So what did she do? What slight against God did Heather O'Rourke make?
Right. So, Right. Like these kinds of things, like that's what makes it difficult for me. So, because somebody likened it to being, the real final destination, right? People accepted a role in this film, and death has been coming for them ever since.
Great, that's a a great analogy there. Like if she had survived, let's say, she went to a decent ass doctor and survived, then how would she have died? Would she have still had an untimely demise?
I mean, especially because like I feel like, and I mean, this might just be my own sense of justice. So this is also not true, right? I'm gonna preface what I'm about to say with that. This is also not true, but my own sense of justice would say if anyone was going to be cursed for making this film, it would be Spielberg, Hooper. I'm brain farting on the name of the FX artist. And that's like a tragedy, right? Everybody is like, the curse is because they use the real skeletons. And it's like, okay, so you're blaming these horrible, untimely deaths on this poor FX artist, which is horrible. Like, what a horrible thing to like.
Yeah.
Hear
you killed Heather O'Rourke, you asshole.
Right? Like, that's horrible. But anyways, it's like, but he didn't die. And he's the one who made that choice. I mean, to be fair, like in Poltergeist, The family that's attacked is not the developer's family, right? It's not the people
Yeah.
who knew that the bodies were there, but really, like, if there's, if you have any sense of justice, then the people who would have died are, the people who chose to make the film and who made all of those decisions, you know what I mean? Of what was going to be used, how it was going to be used, who's on the film, who's not on the film, not a child.
Yeah. Well, and then, Dominic Dunn, okay, now that one's pretty damn tragic. Heather O'Rourke is unfortunate. Kids die from stuff all the time, sometimes.
Which is tragic.
Sometimes it's going to be accidents. Sometimes it's going to be, sudden infant death syndrome is a thing, and that's a random thing. They don't know why the hell it even occurs. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so Heather O'Rourke you could label as just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Dominic Dunn is actively tragic. It's like, oh shit. Like, that's pretty brutal. That's, because, she fell victim to a murder. That sucks. Julian Beck and Will Sampson, dude, those people were sick. Those people were going to die no matter what. Like, if you say they're part of a curse, then you have to say Raul Julia was cursed because of the Street Fighter movie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, he was dying when he took that role.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and yeah, go ahead.
And then the skeletons and everything, it's like, that was just common practice back then.
Yeah.
That's just how it was.
Yeah.
So, that's how I take all of this stuff. It would be really hard for me to call it a curse.
Yeah.
But I can see why, I can sit here and say, it's an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. I think, like I said, I think it adds a lot of like mystique to the whole thing, and it is fun, and it is a lot of like terrible. I hesitate to say coincidences because somebody, I don't remember who it was in the chat, said I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't necessarily believe in coincidences either, but I think like I was said at the beginning, I think it's really easy, especially in the horror genre, to pick apart what has happened to people over a 30, 40-year span after a movie came out and say, like, oh, this is because they were in this horror film. And we don't do that to other movies. Like, we don't, we're not going to pull out, say, Steel Magnolias and say, like, what happened to all the people in Steel Magnolias after they made this movie. We just don't do that. We don't do that to dramas or rom-coms or any, and for some reason we just love it with horror films. And you have to remember too, like, a lot of things go wrong on the sets of horror films because, one, they have like far lower budgets than a lot of other types of films.
Oh, for sure.
And so corners are being cut. And then also and then even on the flip side, so even a well-budgeted horror film like Poltergeist would have been, you're so FX heavy. There's so many moving parts, so that anything that goes wrong on the set is just kind of like, well, yeah. All the FX heavy films have a lot go wrong on set, because we could do that. We could do that with The Lord of the Rings, which is, my favorite film franchise. And it's like, man, the stuff they had go wrong on the set is like insane, but look how FX heavy those movies are, so.
So, it's crazy. And, I see JK, he's saying, but Spielberg was kind of cursed because he did go on to work on the Twilight Zone, the movie, which is also regarded as a cursed film. That would be an interesting one to talk about sometime as well, JK.
Absolutely. So maybe it's Spielberg who's cursed and not...
Yeah, Spielberg, you dick.
Yeah, Chaz and Spielberg was cursed. He made that crap Fast Notice, Forrest Gump. One, Forrest Gump is awesome. Two, Spielberg had nothing to do with Forrest Gump. That was Robert Zemeckis. But sorry, Chad. Sorry, dude. But you have to take your beef. I just want you to take your beef up with the right person. If you didn't like that movie, that's Robert Zemeckis, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And JP is saying, but the SoCal serial killers moved here from the South. That is totally untrue. Redneck serial killers are actually exceptionally rare.
Yeah.
Exceptionally rare. Because let me tell you something, man. You start trying to kill people in these redneck states, you're going to get your ass shot. Yeah. You ain't going to last long.
No,
but also,
okay.
West Virginia has like an extremely high success rate with catching murderers and stuff like that. Like that's a state you don't want to do that in.
You. They're looking for you. They're coming for you.
But it's probably rare anyway. But
he's not wrong though that a lot of the serial killers who were murdering in Southern California were transplants. They weren't people born here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's true.
Well,
but it doesn't change the fact that
they're
victims. Right? It doesn't change the fact that their victims were here, so it was dangerous to live here.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just dangerous. It was dangerous to be here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But man, that's but dude, you know, I mean, you know, this state probably, you know, can sometimes drive people crazy, man, when you go to like a Mexican restaurant and there's 20 women who gaggle incessantly beside of you and you can't hear anything for an hour. You don't have a waitress to bring you.
So you're so mad at that book club next to us last night.
There was a book club next to us yesterday, damn it. And and not only that, there was like 20 young women beside of us who did not stop for a beat. And not only that, but our waitress abandoned us when they came in. So I never got another drink. I was sitting there, I was parched. I was like Clark Griswold when he was walking through the desert.
Yeah.
So they not only dehydrated me, but they drove me. It was like when you listen to like locusts and they say they'll drive you crazy. It was like that. Or cicadas. It was like, oh my God. But then I heard someone order. One of the girls ordered. A Mexican waitress goes over to them and is like, "Can I get you guys some drinks?" And she's like, "I'll take a skinny marg."
A skinny marg.
A skinny marg.
A skinny marg. That happened to us last night. Yeah, that happened within our purview last night. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So that's what I'm saying. So it creates serial killers out here.
So, you know, a lot of people say things about California. A lot of things that people say about California aren't true. And a lot of things, I tend to let it, I've been from California since my birth, right? So,
yeah.
I tend to let a lot of it roll right off, man. Like, I don't care. It's beautiful here, whatever.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, somebody does something that just makes me just momentarily, just for that heartbeat of time where I'm just a little embarrassed, right?
Well,
and I know that you've had that happen before in West Virginia, where it's just like, ouch, that one moment where you're like, oh.
Yeah, for sure.
That was mine last night. For the first time since we've been here, like we had that moment last night when we heard that girl go, "I'll take a skinny marg." I was just like,
"Oh my God!"
It hurt my feelings,
dude. So we're going to use this as a segue because I promised that we would. If you paid attention in the community post, I told everybody. That Anna called some people fools in the movie theater.
Yeah.
So we're going to use that as a segue to get into that topic. So as I told you all, I finally saw 10 in theaters, keeping up with my tradition. I've seen every single Saw film ever released in theaters. All of them. So I've been feeling bad. And October was hammered for me as far as, you know, all this stuff going on. all these events I had to go to, and I was sick, and hell, I still am.
Yeah.
So I ended up seeing Saw 10 a little bit later than I wanted. Now there's a problem with that. They had moved it to a smaller screen.
Yeah.
Which, a smaller theater within the theater. I don't know, room, whatever the fuck you call
Amphitheater.
it.
Yeah.
Amphitheater. Now, the theaters out here are extremely nice, man. The chairs lay all the way back, so you can lay down and watch a movie. Now, the problem is, especially when they're moved to a smaller screen, they do not put spaces between the chairs, and your chairs can lay down.
Yeah.
So you are, if other people are in the theater with you at these smaller screens, when you lay down, you're essentially laying down with someone else.
Yeah, you're snuggled up to a stranger.
You're snuggled up to a stranger.
Yeah.
So we go to see Saw 10. And I watch, unfortunately, as a gaggle of like 6 young ladies walk in.
Now, this is, to be fair, this is like after the lights have gone down.
This is after the lights have gone down. So
you can't see them all that well. Yeah.
And they come in and they sit beside of me. I have like a 14-year-old, probably 14. 14-year-old girl sitting beside of me for the entirety of the film.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Whatever. Nothing wrong with that at all. Like, it could have been fun. The problem was all of these girls.
Because you had moments of it that were fun. You had moments of it that were fun for you, right? Because she was a scaredy.
She jumped a lot.
Cat.
And she was, which was fun. Yeah. That's hilarious. It's cute.
Yeah.
The problem is all of them, and I do mean every single one of them, got on their phones for the entirety of the movie. Not only did they get on their phones, so at these theaters out here, there's trays that are attached to your seat and swivel around in front of you because you can order food while you watch movies. These girls left their phone on the trays, screen up. So every time they got a notification, every time blah blah blah, they would check their phones, and they held it the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, shit, man, I don't know, because number one, it's California, and this is the land of Karens. So I got to be, and I'm a guy. Number two. So that's a major strike against me. So I'm like, man, I don't know if I can say anything to these women because I'm going to get, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be a witch hunt maybe if I say something. So I'm just laying there like, man, please, Anna, come through for me, man.
See, so I hesitated for most of the film because I thought, one, if it was bothering Steven, who is right up against them, and I'm being buffered by him, that one, he would say something either directly to them or he would say something to me. My other thought was, if he's not bothered, I could be what annoys him by saying something, right? Like I could be the Debbie Downer, right? The negative Nancy that like was like, it didn't even bother me and you made a scene, right? Like, so those were my two hesitations. One, if it really bothered him, he would say something. And two, I don't want to be what bothers him when we are here for him.
Yeah.
And then something happened that I could not.
Okay, so now this is crazy, man. I want y'all to think about this shit. Yeah, man, I can't be getting Me Too, Chad. I can't let that shit happen. This is the wrong place for me. White man, 13-year-old girls, son. I can't risk that shit. I got strikes against me just from redneck. All
right, so what finally pushed me?
Here's what started. You guys are going to shit your pants. as I reveal this. This is better than the fucking twist in the Saw film.
It is.
I'm sitting there, man, and this girl beside me, like 14 years old, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set the scene for you. I hate to even say that. She's barely wearing any clothes. Number one.
Unnecessary part of the story, but okay.
But it is, because here's what she started doing.
Yeah.
She pulls up her phone, like I told y'all, man. She's over there texting. But it is kind of because this is what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was putting her phone up to her face and scrunching down like this.
Yeah.
So she could get pictures of her face in the theater with her cleavage in them.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
And left her flash on. And she took a picture of herself like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is during a scene where there's a lot of sound and music and people are dying, and Anna sees it, and I see her. You couldn't help but see it. So she can't say nothing because she'd have to literally scream.
Yeah, it was so loud. I was like, if I said something right now, I would have to scream.
2 minutes later, after that scene has concluded, it's starting to wind down, she picks up her phone again, props her breasts up, scrunches herself into a ball, and takes another picture, and the flash goes off again. And that's when Anna just... Go ahead, Anna. What did you say?
I said, you guys need to put your phones away and stop acting like a bunch of fools. To which I shockingly get an adult reply from the far end of the row.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Yep.
So I turned all the way around in my seat and I said, oh, this whole row, they've all been on their phones the whole movie, shining them in our faces.
Yes.
To which I get a very coward, girls, put your phones away. Yeah. She tried, like, right? Like the mom who was there with all the girls, like, tried for a sec. Yeah. Who are you talking to? You, bitch, I'm talking to you. And she was like, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to, because once again, guys, like, Chad knows. Like, I can't risk that shit out here, dog. So I was like, man, I don't know, like, so what I was going to do is because it's fucking weird. I looked over to my left, and literally my entire row, besides me and Anna, because it was filled up by these girls, every single one of them was like this, with their screens lit up. So I was going to sneak my phone out, because it's in my pocket on both silent and do not disturb. Right. My watch is on theater mode. I was going to sneak my phone out and just angle it like this and get a picture of all of them on their phone and go to management. I didn't know what the hell else to do.
You could have just you could have tagged me in at any. So now we know. You could have tagged me in at any moment, because, like, I literally only didn't say anything because I didn't want to be what took you out of the moment of the. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to be what bothered you, But
yeah, and that's a unique I have never, that is my worst thing I've ever experienced in a theater as far as that goes. Like,
agreed. Me too. And I'm, like I said, I've spent most of my life going to movies here. So it's not, it was a unique experience for me too. I've never seen anything like that. And I was shocked and appalled to discover they were with an adult. At first, like, I knew immediately when they sat down that they were too young to be in the movie. Yeah. And I wondered, like, what theater Nimrod effed this up and let these kids into this movie. Yeah. And then when but I didn't think for a second they had an adult with them. Not a single one of them behaved the whole movie like they had an adult with them, because they were doing other stuff too. That one of them got up in the middle of the movie and went and talked to one. I mean, like, literally physically went and, so she was like crouched half up, and I was like, oh, there's no, it's tween. girls, because if they were 14, I am shocked. You know what I mean? They were 13, 14-year-old girls, and it was like totally thought they were out for an evening by themselves. And not that excuses bad behavior, but it absolutely is like, right at that age, you kind of almost need those little reminders, right, from the adults present to be like, I know your parents aren't here, but other humans are here. You can't act a fool. I remember being that age, and obviously not nearly that obnoxious. I had very parents who were very aware of what we were, you know what I mean? I was not ignored by my parents. My parents paid attention to how we behaved, were quick to correct how we behaved. And so never that obnoxious, but man, I was getting kicked out of class for talking. So I'm a talker. Like that just, so if I have never been shushed by an adult in a movie, I'd be shocked, like that.
But,
Yeah.
We flash photography in the theater. Holy shit.
With an adult. Like that's what got me. It's like, not only have these children, because that's what they are, not been taught by their own parent how to behave when they're out in public, but they had an adult with them who got them into a movie they were too young to be seen. No offense to our young viewers. My point is, like, if you're being taken to a movie you're too young to see on your own, somebody needs to be in charge of how you're behaving in that movie. That's my only point, right? So you're too young to be taking yourself to this movie. So why isn't the adult in charge of you, making sure you're behaving the way other adults want you to be behaving?
JK, this is exactly what I brought up that night.
100%.
JK says, the bizarre thing is that they probably consider Anna to be the Karen, and I think so. Because see, like, I'm one of those people who will wait until the credits roll to see if there's any post-credit scenes, and I know 95% of people will not do that.
Yeah,
I've seen almost 100% of the time I'm the only one left in the theater by the time I'm walking out.
Yeah.
All of these girls who couldn't be bothered to watch the movie stayed until after the lights came up, and I swear I think they were getting a picture of Anna so they could. This woman just yelled at me in the theater.
And it's
call
like
her a Karen. I think so.
I don't care. I don't even care. I'm the last year or two of Gen X, and fucking proud of it, man. Like whatever, y'all. Yes,
dude, Brian, I
don't just own it. I love it.
Brian, there was no way to move to another seat, or we would have. Like, that's one thing that shocked me.
The theater was shockingly full.
I was telling everybody all day. I was like, we're going to be the only ones in there. And then we got there, and it was full. As a matter of fact, there were 4 of us who went, and our whole party couldn't sit together. We had to split up into couples.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I knew that night that I was the problem in there, for sure. I mean, especially with the way the adult who was with them behaved. Who are you talking to? Yeah. Way to teach these. Like, I knew right then, like, as soon as they leave, she's going to tell them what a problem I was. You know what I mean? Instead of owning, right? Because that's how you corral that. If the adult there had a little shame and been like, I should have been paying attention. But she didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that she left there, and instead of being like, that was my bad, girls, you absolutely, like, I should have been on top of that. Blah, 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 blah. No, I guarantee you she walked out of there talking shit about me. Yeah.
Guarantee it.
She should have been minding her own business, and what a old fogey, and what a blah, 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 blah. But it's like, man, there's a reason movie theaters have those please put your phone away and on silent and whatever. Like,
yes,
we say it like 5 times. And because even the theaters know it is literally the most annoying thing that can happen during a movie. I would rather hear kids in a movie talking to each other 100 million times. Would I rather that be the problem? That, like, there's a group of 12-year-olds in the movie talking to each other.
Yeah.
Because at least they're out having a good time. At least they're present if not to the film, then they're present to each other, right? Like they're dicking
like
around
I said,
and having a great time.
And this isn't talking shit because I love the theaters out here. Like I love how I have never, and we haven't out here like had any bad experiences either, man. But like in West Virginia, like that shit, I've seen it. Anna has seen it happen one time, and I think I've seen it happen one time. That shit gets shut down during the previews. Like we heard a lady, I think we were seeing like Violent Night or something that.
We were seeing Violent Night. Yeah.
And this lady during the previews told a group of boys, like, you guys need to act like you have some common sense and turn your damn or something, like
yeah.
It was crazy, and they didn't say
act
a word.
like they had sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's really it was just really weird, man. It was really weird how they were acting. But yeah, I guarantee you were the Karen of their story.
I don't mind.
And
I don't mind. It got you through the rest of your movie.
It did.
Without more phone flashes in your face. So
dude,
I did my job. I'm happy.
Exactly, JK. And you pay for the movie, the theater being nice out here because the movies and the concessions are far more expensive.
Right.
I mean,
right. Those tickets were like what, $15 a piece?
$15, $16.
Yeah.
And I'm a $15, $16, a lot of money to us. Like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's why we don't go to the movies anywhere near as often as I used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywhere near as often as I used to, man.
Yeah.
So they, Chad, the goal for tomorrow to do a stream tomorrow would be $100, man. I tossed it up just seeing if anybody would be interested in that. I'll totally do one. If somebody's interested in that.
JP wants to know who was the annoying guy making comments when we saw The Nun 2.
I think that was JP.
I think that was you. That was you, JP. That was totally you, bro. Yeah. Not that we can, like, Steven is so used to the fact that our family talks during movies that, like, I don't even think that shocked him, JP. Like,
it did.
So he has seen so many movies with James, like, there's no shock.
I can't do it with James. Like, I just can't do it with James anymore. Like, they'll behave in a theater setting, but I do have a rule. Like, Anna and her family will behave in a theater setting. Like, they may, like, say, like anybody else would, like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Or, here and there, like 2 or 3 comments a movie. Fine with that. But yeah, my rule is for James, I will not watch a movie I've never seen before with him at home. Ever.
Yeah.
Like, not one that I want to see. Like if James turns on some dumb shit like Aquaman, I'm not going to be pissed because I don't want to see it. But if like he turns on something, man, I really want to see, Terrifier, I'm not watching it with James for the first time.
Yeah.
Like he will sit there and ruin that whole, I won't know what happened, and he will actively ruin the whole thing. Like he will talk smack.
Yeah, and it's worse, like, and that's ratting myself out 100%, but in almost in defense of James, it's worse if James and I are together, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It is. Like, yeah, if James and I are together and we put on a movie we've never seen, if the movie goes bad, so if the movie is holding our attention and is well written and whatever, like, we're fine.
Yeah.
If one thing goes, if the movie takes that left turn, it's all over. Like we don't care anymore. We don't care. Like the movie's bad.
Oh my God. Okay, and 10-minute warning, 5-minute warning here. We'll do last minute questions and comments for everybody. We'll go ahead because we went over a little bit. But I did want to make sure we get because we didn't do a lot of comments while we were doing the curse thing. Grassman, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Yes, Anna had to she had to flex on some teenagers.
Yeah, I had to beat up a 13-year-old.
Yeah, she did.
Dude, I didn't beat her up, but I did go full Karen, and I'm proud of myself about it.
Yay, Chad Edmonds with the $25 of Rooskies. Hey, thank you, Chad. You total stud. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I did. I had to Karen, but yeah.
She did. She totally did, man. Yeah, JK, man, I'm with you, dude. Drive-ins are awesome. I know they had a couple in West Virginia, and I never did take Anna to one. We were going to. There was even a new one that opened.
Yeah. You know,
I
think the problem we ran into was one, like the drive-in was what, an hour and a half, 2 hours away?
I think it was an hour away.
And then the movies were always shown as double features.
Mm-hmm.
And they all started late at night. So it was okay.
They started at sundown.
Right. So it was like, and they didn't run all year. And so it was like when it was waiting for an opportunity where it's like, there's 2 movies we want to see. We want to make it out.
Mm-hmm.
We want to spend basically like 6 hours. Like, it was tough. It was a tough ask. Like, it was just
God, and the drive-in was super cheap. Like,
you know,
you could get in, like your whole car could get in for God, what was it? Like $10?
Yeah. And I feel
something
like
crazy.
It wasn't open for the first year of COVID, and it would have been the best time for us to go because we weren't really doing a lot. You know, and then it was like, then it was back in full swing just as we were getting into doing Weird and Wonderful. And it was like, we just couldn't fit that into our Weird and Wonderful schedule. Like, we just couldn't.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure that out, you know?
Yes, JP. Chad is the man. He carries this stream solely on his back. Not totally today, though. Landy Smith tossed in a $5 Rooskies. Hell yeah, Landy.
Right.
Stud.
I just like the Landy Smith's new picture because that's a new one, right?
Yeah,
that's a new one for Landy.
Yeah.
We love Prince around here, so thank you, Landy.
Heck yeah. New Ghostbusters movie coming next spring. Heck yeah, Pokemons. We're going to be seeing that. We love the Ghostbusters. Bustin' makes us feel good.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I want a t-shirt that says that so bad.
Yeah. Sharon says, we had a drive-in when I was growing up. One screen had a Disney movie. The other one was a horror movie. Guess which one I watched? Hint, hint. Not Disney. Heck no. You got to watch the scurry ones.
You know, it's funny. And my mom can totally correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like the last movie I saw in a drive-in was E.T.
Huh. Damn. Okay.
And I'm talking like, you know, when E.T. came out.
Damn. Man. Chad says drive-ins were great when you were in the back with your girl. The movie came second, if you know what I mean. Dude, I don't know. You know, that unless you were there in Christine, bro.
Yeah.
Unless you were there in Christine, man. Come on, Chad. Erasmus says, I remember the movies when I was a kid and your shoes would stick to the floor. Yes. Yeah, totally. Man. Totally. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, so no stream tomorrow, I guess. I guess nobody wants to help Chad lift that burden, you know what I'm saying? So he's just got to carry it all on his own. And...
Oh, Sharon says that I think the last one I saw at the drive-in was Animal House.
You know, I've never seen Animal House. Is that Rodney Dangerfield movie?
No, the Rodney Dangerfield movie is Back to School.
Okay.
I might be misremembering the name of it, but he goes back to college. His son is in college and he goes back to college, and that's hilarious. If it's not Back to School, it's something like that, but it's, yeah. Animal House is a frat movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that the one with the Belushi dude who like?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that. Like, not that I remember. Like, they used to include that in the previews on like VHS tapes or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Like, it's a
you know,
it's a classic. Jim Belushi. Yep, you're absolutely correct, JK.
Damn, JP was not supporting his local drive-ins and was hiding his brother in the trunk. I mean, maybe that's why they don't exist anymore, JP.
No. He's saying he and his brother were in the trunk.
Oh my God, so now it's even worse.
Some adult was gaming the system and had, you know, twin boys in the trunk.
Now it's even worse. Oh my God. Damn, Chad saw Jason Takes Manhattan at a drive-in, dude. How was it to see the big fight night on the big screen, dude, when Julius finally sacked up and took it to the streets with old Jason?
Yeah. JP says we're wrong. It's John Belushi. The other one is James. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh, and he says my older brother put us in the trunk, or he wouldn't let us go.
Oh my God.
Cheap
I
bastard.
can't believe it. Yeah, I can't believe this, JP. We're going to have a talk here, man. JP single-handedly ruined drive-ins for everybody. For everybody.
He was the problem.
You're the problem, JP. This is I know better. JP's a hellion. I bet he's a hellion of a child. It's probably his idea. He's like, we can save money, big bro.
No, doubt it.
Yeah,
I know his brother. You have to remember, I know his big brothers.
Oh my God. God, I was gonna say something that brought up something I can't remember. Yeah, Chad, that's exactly where I was going, Chad. Where is Nate Blanche, man? I miss Nate tonight.
Yeah, it's weird.
Got his new
to do a stream
membership
without
and
Nate.
Everything.
Hope he's okay. What with it being like cold season and all, I hope Nate's okay.
He's probably over there freaking attending a ritual human sacrifice or something. Nate letting out his dark side.
Grassman says they won't play horror films at his drive-in. That's wild. Like, I feel like drive-ins were made for horror films.
Yeah, man. Come on, Grassman. Come on, Grassman. You're the problem. You need to buy a drive-in and play horror films, dude. There's a problem. You got to solve it, man. There's a problem. You got to solve it, Grassman. Quit playing around, dude.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to call it a night. I would have streamed tomorrow, but I guess all of y'all hate me. You don't want to see me. That's fine.
No, they're worried about you. They know you need the rest.
That's true. That is true. These California fucking creep show allergies are going to kill me or whatever it is. Like, I'm hearing allergies, but who knows?
Creep show allergies.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like Jordy Verrill out here. Like, the damn plants are out to kill me.
Meteor shit.
Meteor shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Man, hey, thank you, Sharon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Sharon.
Tonight was a fun stream. It may be, Grassman. It may be, dude. I'm going to need you to come out here and save me. Send me $75 so you can check on me tomorrow, man. Trav, you have a good night, brother. And alcohol is the answer. What do you think's in here? Huh?
Tipple.
Not really.
It's not.
Not really.
It's like the opposite.
Yeah, it is.
It's his healthy drink.
Good night, Brian Perry. Good night, JP. Good night, everybody, man. Thank you all for being in here. We will see you next Thursday, I rectum.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Thank you for coming in and hanging out with us.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll see y'all, dude. Bye. Good night. We miss you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. We miss you. Oh.